180. So they turned all the way around. 180 has very big implications for WoW's future. Okay.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video.
Okay.
So, let's be real, Blizzard kind of messed up some of the initial design elements of Battle for Azeroth.
Whoa, wait a minute, what do you mean? What is this Blizzard hater? What, he doesn't even like the game? What the fuck is this? This guy hates the game. Can you believe it? Oh my god. This mindless hating is ridiculous. 11-second pause record? No, it's not. I paused on the second before.
And you know what? They've pretty much said that themselves. Patch 8.2 was Blizzard's first large-scale patch that had a lot of lead time. Their first proper opportunity to respond to the deeper design problems of Battle for Azeroth, instead of the immediate firefighting that they were limited to doing with patch 8.1. Then also, based on past expansion timelines, well, this is when quite a lot of the team is going to be shifting over to the next expansion and doing a lot of work on it. Now, combine that with the content of 8.2, and I think...
I must say, if the people that made 8.2 make the next expansion, I'm already excited for it. I think 8.2 is good. And so hopefully that is the case.
We can actually predict what the future of the game is going to look like from a design perspective. So today we're going to be going through what Blizzard are moving towards and what they are moving away from. And we're going to kick it off with what I think is one of the best parts of this patch. Zone depth. Mechagon and Nazjatar both have a lot more to them than Kulturas,
this is a big truth.
Or even Argus or the Broken Shore.
This is a
now,
big
in fairness,
truth.
It wouldn't take much to pass some of those zones, but really what we've seen is quite encouraging. Things like Marty Vass's Laboratory, the Coral Ancients, the Fabius Tame, the Murloc Traders, a bunch of the rares, the more secretive elements, the just stuff like that. There's a lot more interesting stuff in these zones than what we've been used to lately. Now, combine these nice little shimmers of quality with the rest of what you end up seeing, and it's clear that Blizzard seem to be thinking more about the World of Warcraft, which is a good thing.
Thank fucking God. Like, in these previous expansions, the whole thing has just been a bunch of fucking... everything in the game feels like it's pretty much just a tool to move you from point A to point B. Rust Feather's up? Okay, let me go over to Rust Feather real quick. Okay. Alright, I'm on my way. Anyway, so yeah, just a second. Yeah, it's like... I think the best thing about the new zones is the pet battles. Because this is the first time that pet battles genuinely have a focus. So, like, you need to do pet battles to some degree. And I think that's good because they're part of the game. You should make everything part of the game fitting together and working together.
Much as there still is a long way to go. Next, though, something that they're moving away from, and that is heavily randomized rewards. They're massively moving away from this. Previously in BFA, it was about your weekly caches, your Azerite lockboxes from the Emissary, that sort of thing. And then before that, on Argus, you got a random loot token for a slot that contained a random item at a random item level. That's mad.
Fun.
Before that, on the Broken Shore,
that
was another gear token lottery. Now, were those things fun and exciting?
Tom,
no,
congrats.
I don't think so.
Holy
I
shit.
certainly found them to be the least motivating world content gearing progression systems in the game. Now, sure, when you look at this patch, the essences aren't perfect. They may have a few issues, but fundamentally, they are putting the Legion Legendary tier effects onto direct sources with zero RNG. Now, sure, you might like the activity that an essence comes from or something.
That's so fucking good. These essences, you literally go after them and you farm them, and there's a specific place that you farm them at. There's a specific thing that you do to get them, and after you do that thing, after you go to that place, after you get that achievement, you get the essence. Period. There's no bullshit, and it's fucking great because it allows people to create goals.
Elements of the essences, but I think we can all agree it's far better than the Legion Legendary Lottery.
Yes.
Blizzard are clearly moving away from that sort of thing. We even see it with the Benthic gear, and this leads me straight on to my next point, what Blizzard are moving towards, and that seems to be respecting players' time. It's pretty clear to me, regardless of the design wins or losses of Nazjatar or Mechagon, that they do respect your time as zones. Now, do I mean that the zones give you free stuff for no time put in? No, I don't mean that. But what I do mean is that the relationship between your input and the game's output is quite clear. You will get X mana pearls per day by just doing this stuff. They'll translate into Y item level upgrades per week. Do you want to push loads of gear to item level 400? Do you want to get a single bit of gear to a very high item level? Well, you go and you earn the currency, and you can do with that currency whatever you want. There's no overarching...
Imagine having given a 75 rep for a world quest. Yeah, but you get 75 rep every single fucking time. That's the difference. That's what matters. That's what counts. It's not the fact that you're not getting as much rep for a world quest. It's the fact that you know what you're getting before you get it. Now, obviously, with the benthic gear, there's a certain amount of RNG. Just Mike, thank you very much for the 5 Give the Community subs. I appreciate that very much, man. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. But the RNG isn't really that bad. Like, with getting these different benthic armor pieces, even if you're doing them for, like, waiting for a socket or something like that, there's nothing else you're really going to be spending your mana pearls than basically using these items. So the amount of RNG that the benthic armor has, I think, is a fine amount of RNG. It's completely okay. I don't mind it at all. This might surprise some people, but I don't think that RNG is fundamentally bad. It's not. RNG has been in the game since day one, with boss drops, dungeon drops, etc. It used to be much worse than it is now. So the idea that having to buy a few extra pieces and roll the one that you want and have it be basically a 1 in like 20 to 50 chance is not really that big of a fucking deal. Okay? Just make pearls harder to get? No, the system is fine.
Blizzard gearing plan that you're directly falling into. You can distribute the resources you earn in the way that best fulfills your own goals.
Somebody invite me to a server where this rares up,
still
please.
Not having a PvP vendor, but let's move away from that one. Where there was clear randomness in the past with the equivalent systems, there is now a clear deterministic system that lets you plan around it.
Orange Bucket with the 5 more gifts to give me subs too. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
Those goals. I think this is a big win, and I'm fairly sure it's going to perform better for Blizzard over time. And with that, there's actually something that I think you might have noticed Blizzard move away from, and that is weekly front-loading. Because Nazjatar and Mechagon don't have those big weekly milestones in the same way that a lot of other content in the game has. Blizzard clearly decided against adding to the existing BFA crop of weekly activities, as compared to, say, Argus. It's especially
That's actually
clear.
true.
Over in Argus, right, you got your big bursts of rewards just come from a few weekly quests that you could knock out in like an hour. This was a double-edged sword. Some people will have loved getting that quick burst of reward and not having to play all the time, but for others, they will have just felt like they have a week ahead of them where A, they feel like they have less to do, and B, the things that they can do are less time efficient as compared to the weekly, so they're not worth doing.
That's right. So it's like the 80-20 rule. So if you can get 80% of the rep in 20% of the time, there are very few people that want to spend 80% more time for the last 20% of the rep. So what it does is it basically conditions players into making conscious decisions to stop playing the game, right? And this is what happened. And even like Kevin Jordan talked about this in one of his videos, right? Is that whenever you start creating things that create a habit of players logging on, right? Log on every day for this, log on every week for this, etc. Your game's fucked, because now players are thinking about like how to optimize their time and not thinking about enjoying the game. And I do think that the weekly thing is a good idea, and Blizzard moving away from that is also a very, very good idea.
What do we see in the new zones? Well, I think it's pretty clear what we've got instead of the weekly front-loading. And that is what they're moving towards, the daily experience. Blizzard clearly are putting more thought into the daily process
with the 5 more get the community subs. Thank you very much, man. Holy shit, thank you guys. God damn, people have been gifting a lot of subs today. Thank you guys so much.
World of Warcraft. Both of the game's 2 new zones do have wide-spanning achievements over weeks and weeks and weeks, but the gameplay really is heavily focused on the daily content, shifting away from those weekly meta tasks that we've seen a lot of in the past. Now, what has this resulted in? Well, I think split.
They say that dreaming is believing. We say that believing in your dreams is what makes it a reality. The light that illuminates the path to innovation requires new technology that connects the dots to our future. At Corellis, we use our automated test solutions that enable you to create the impossible, to design your dreams, and bring forth new ideas that change the world around us. From the technology of today that drives intelligent cars, to the global high-speed communication used by Mill Aerospace, connecting and protecting our world, to the smart devices we
Opinion. I think to some people,